Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to be covering the new Tier 9 Tech Tree Heavy Cruiser, the Manteuffel, I think it's pronounced. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably pronounced it wrong. The ship build I'll be running for this video is this. So make sure to pause the video and take a look at it, if you need. And before we get into the video, I guess, thank you for all the support recently. You guys have been supporting the channel quite a lot, so thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed already, guys, I would greatly appreciate it because it helps me out a lot and it also lets you know when I upload videos, etc. So thank you for those of you who already subscribed, and for those of you who aren't, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, do leave a like to the video and potentially even share it if you do enjoy the content. But anyway, let's get into the Manteuffel review. This is a new Tier 9 Tech Tree Heavy Cruiser. So what does it have? As you can see with the 4 key, it's got this new ammo type. Well, we actually have it on CVs, I believe, right now. These are manual secondary controls, which is the main gimmick of this line. Now, I do not have the Tier 10 to present to you of this line. I do have the Tier 9, I have the Tier 6, and I have the Tier 7 so far. So today I'm going to be covering the Tier 9. And oh boy, did I have so much fun playing this ship actually yesterday. That doesn't mean it's gonna perform the best every game, of course not. But overall, yesterday I actually literally just had fun playing it. So what does it have? It has manual control over its secondaries and main guns, of course. And you got torps and you got some hydro. I believe the hydro is 6 km standard German hydro. More importantly though, look, we can literally shoot the secondaries manually even when nothing's spotted. We can literally shoot them ourselves. We aim them ourselves at weak points, for example, which is an advantage when compared to the automatic secondaries, because then you can literally aim for whichever armor point you want instead of it aiming center ship. That means you're going to light more fires overall, and that also means you can pinpoint low armored sections. And with the German cruisers, we got that improved HE penetration, which means you can pen 32mm on even the small caliber guns without IFHE. And in this case here, we have a Missouri. I get really excited, but then I realize there's an Azuma behind him, so I get a bit scared because now it's going to be a 2v1. But as you can see, I'm getting to play my secondaries manually. And look how much damage we're getting here. I do unfortunately, whilst playing this ship, I do unfortunately forget to use my main guns quite a lot. But look at this, right? Look how much damage we can rack up on just a bow in Missouri here. Now he goes full broadside, so I still have HE with my secondaries. But take a look at this. Look how many secondaries we can get so fast. We're just outputting secondary hits and damage. And we do get that improved German HE penetration, which actually has the 38mm pen on the big secondary guns. That means we're going to be able to pen Missouri's deck. And as you saw, look how quick we racked up 50,000 damage there on that Missouri. 50,000 damage is not something to be laughed at, I guess. But he was bow in, unfortunately. And you have to keep in mind with this ship, this review is coming out in a time where, well, not a lot of people know how to play against these things, potentially. And so, realistically, right now, they're going to be at least probably a bit stronger. They look a bit stronger than maybe in the future they will be, because at least people will get used to playing against them more often. And will have a harder time playing them. Now, what is the secondaries? Do the actual secondaries have any difference with being manual or automatic? Well, actually, you get more secondary range if you play them as the main guns, right? And as you can see, it goes up to 13km secondary range. I do not have the Tier 10, but I think apparently the Tier 10 goes up to around 13.4, which is kind of crazy. But the Tier 9 here goes up to 13km secondary range if you do use it like the normal version, where it automatically plays for you. I believe it goes down to around 12 kilometers, which isn't as good. So you gotta use the manuals, guys, so you get more secondary range. This ship, yesterday, I don't know. I had a blast. I'll show you actually 2 games. This game and another game I actually played with PQ. I'm sure you know PQ. If you don't, do check out this channel, Potato Quality, on YouTube and Twitch. But I'm sure you already know who he is, guys. We played some division matches with him yesterday. This match is my first actually ever match with the Manteuffel. And later on, I'll show you, well, after this game, I'll show you a game where I played with PQ. Anyway, so this game, I'm actually kind of trying to learn how to play this thing with the manual secondaries, because I've actually never even used manual secondaries, even on the CVs, of course. So I'm kind of just trying to get used to them. As you can see, it's very, very simple to switch back to the main guns and back to the secondaries. That means if you're paying attention more consistently or more constantly, you can actually output a bit more damage and do way more. But look how much damage we're outputting on this guy. Around 17,000 damage on him, which isn't too much, I guess. But it's 3 damage. It's basically like playing, to me, it feels like playing a Z42 with armor and more guns. The accuracy might not be as good, I think. But again, if you're getting up close and personal with these ships, and maybe you're sitting behind a rock, and they're pretty close to you, you can output quite a lot of damage on them. Let's skip a bit forward here so we can see some AP broadside shot on the Stai Hang at 16-kilometer range. Now you have to keep in mind I'm building nothing into main gun accuracy here, because we're going full on the secondaries, which I would say is the gimmick of the line, right? So unfortunately I run into this Kitakazi. I feel bad for it, so I type sorry. Pretty exciting. But luckily this Kitakazi is super nice. Even though I literally ran into him, he's gonna do me a really nice favor here of smoking me up into this Tai Hang position potentially. Look how quick we can switch into the secondary mode here to start outputting some damage on that Seattle on the other side of our ship. And something to note is secondary hits that you manually aim also count as secondary hits. That means for your Lugeon secondary proc damage reload buff, you can get it pretty fast. But that also means you're not going to be getting the main gun reload buff. But again, you're looking for that secondary reload buff. Kitakazi offers me a smoke here. We get a close quarters expert there on the Seattle, which is pretty cool. Really exciting. But more importantly, this Kitakazi does smoke up for me. We do end up complimenting him because this is huge. And this can showcase to you what happens when, well, you have battleships pushing into you, but you also have a smoke screen to make use of. Now, I did end up shooting my main guns there because I got a bit excited. Unfortunately, we get absolutely nothing with the main guns in that shot, but that's okay, you know. We try to output as much damage as we can with the secondaries. And I'm not sure, I'm not really exactly keeping track of how much secondary damage I'm having going on here. We'll take a look at that after this game is done. But what's really nice here is we got that Lugeon secondary reload buff, which is going to help us squeeze some extra damages onto these enemy ships. The shells, I mean, they're not that hard to aim, actually. It feels like pretty much playing a... I don't know, is it faster than Destroyer shell travel time? The shell travel time seems pretty fast. I mean, it is 7 seconds for 12 kilometers, but it's definitely aimable. And I believe before this patch, the secondaries actually had worse dispersion because there was an aiming bug. But now they have the good accuracy. And as you can see, look how many fires I can light with the secondaries. Pen damage. It's mostly almost about fires as well. The fire chance seems pretty good. Boom, 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 boom. Now, is this ship gonna perform well every single game you play it, guys? Of course not, right? You're gonna have some games where, well, ships are gonna be pre-kited off the screen, and we've had games like that yesterday. In those games, you're gonna have a harder time, of course, because, well, probably an almost impossible time if they're running off the screen, because, well, you're gonna have to rely on your main guns at that point. Your main guns being the 350mm guns, by the way. And in that case, if you're building for secondaries and people aren't pushing into you, you're not going to really have an easy time. But in these games where people push up into you, this ship can be pretty fun indeed. And that's kind of what you're playing these ships for, right? For these games where people actually push up and you can actually have a lot of fun. If you're paying attention to the score right now, by the way, I know it looks like we're losing, but we're actually winning, guys. The points are inverted. And you saw right there, even though I switched to my main guns there, the secondaries keep shooting because, of course, it works like a secondary ship. So if you switch to your main guns, the secondaries are going to play for you. Just keep in mind they do have worse range than your actual manual control secondaries. But this is what I like doing. I like shooting my main guns and then instantly going back to secondaries so I can aim, get that extra range, and I can output some damage. And as you can see, we're up to 190,000 damage pretty much in 11 minutes, which is pretty good. And we're already on 2 close quarters experts. I think how many total close quarters experts I got with this ship yesterday over five games. I think I got 6 or 7 close quarters experts. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, if you do get a secondary kill with manual mode control secondaries, you do get close quarters expert, which is pretty exciting indeed. We get a citadel there on the broadside Azuma there at 16, or Azuma at 17 kilometers, 16 kilometers, which is pretty nice. Just extra chip damage there, which we want. The citadel damage, by the way, sits at 10,500, which is actually pretty high, which is kind of nice. Boom, 0 damage there. I'm trying to squeeze some into secondary damage here, range, into the Azuma here. But I don't think we're going to be able to get much more damage this game because we're already up to 940 HP. PQ can attest to this. Yesterday I was having a lot of fun playing this ship. Like I said, this isn't one of those ships maybe in the future where people get used to playing against it. You're going to have an easy time. But it can be fun. Like, if you get the right matchmaking, I can't imagine playing against tier 7 battleships, actually. Like, it's gonna be huge, right? Like Colorados or Nagatos, things like that. And tomorrow, I'm not sure when I'm gonna post it. I'll post a Deutschland video, and I'll show you how much secondary damage we can get with that one. But let's go into the score. For personal score, we ended up doing 224,493 damage, 30 shell hits, 2 kills, 10 fires, 1 citadel hit, 505 secondary hits, close quarters expert and high caliber. Team score, we ended up doing top of our team at 2003 XP, which is pretty nice for us in our first game in the Manteuffel. For detailed report, we got 49k on that Pommern, 2k on the Seattle, 77k on the Taihang, 56k on the Missouri, 21k on the Azuma, and 16k on the Rune. As you can see, most of our damage came from secondaries at 129,000 damage from secondaries, plus 52,000 damage from fires from the secondaries, because as you can see, we mostly used AP. So total pretty much 180,000 damage from secondaries that game and 40,000 from main guns. Damage received that game, 44,000. And this is the credits and XP screen. Here we are in the second game in the Manteuffel. As you can see, I'm playing with a man named Renamed User. That is PQ on my team, by the way. Potato Quality, by the way, do check out his channel. I'll leave the link to his channel in the description of this video. So make sure to support him. Of course, I'm sure all of you already subscribed to him because, well, he's a way bigger channel than mine. But if he can get even 1 subscriber more, I guess I would have done my part, right, guys? But anyway, the Manteuffel here. Second game. Let's take a look at my ship build. Again, exactly the same build I ran last game. But this game, I'll be running Lugens. I replaced Lugens. I put it back on the ship I normally run it on, which is, I think, Hindenburg-esque ships. So the build is different. But this is the build on the normal captain regardless for me. But anyway, here we are, guys. A Richelieu spotted in mid. Now, this is a game we're going to play a bit more aggressive, I guess. Now, last game we did play pretty aggressive. But this game, we're not going to have that smoke that Kitakazi offered us. We do have, however, a PQ backup here, which means a second Manteuffel. So we can kind of both run in and use our secondaries combined potentially on these ships. And here we go. Instant fire on the Richelieu there, which is kind of what we want. And also, we have to keep in mind that I was showing full broadside and I got smashed. But we have to keep in mind that this Richelieu is covered with 32mm armor everywhere. That means everywhere we hit him, we're going to do pen damage, right? Because we do pen him with HE. Now, in this case, I'm not getting that much damage. Maybe I'm hitting the guns. Maybe I'm aiming incorrectly here. But that's okay. We're trying to light those fires. PQ's got his secondaries on him as well. And, the Neptune over there, unfortunately. What are we going to be able to do about him? Unfortunately, he's going to be able to shoot us. Now, as you can see, even though we got double fire there, by the way, on the Richelieu, hopefully we can get a third fire potentially and really burn him up. And we do get a triple fire on this Richelieu. He's not having a good time because now he's going to start burning. I forgot my train of thought because there's so much going on, you know? I'm focusing on the secondaries. But yeah, these things remind me of kind of like a hybrid almost between heavy cruisers and light cruisers, but you do retain the armor scheme. You do have to keep in mind though that the nose armor I think is 25mm, or I think 25 or 27. So there are quite a lot of ships that can overmatch you. The side plate is 90 though, which is really nice. But you do have to angle for that and hope for the best. We get our first skill there of the game, a close quarters expert, which is pretty nice. But yeah, as you can see, you can kind of switch between your heavy cruiser guns, your super heavy cruiser guns, 350mm, and then back down to your 128s, I think, and the 152s maybe. I'm not sure what caliber guns. We can take a look maybe in port here. I'll show you ship characteristics after the game's done. We'll go through armor layout, ship characteristics, and ship build again after the game's done. We'll cover everything. Even the camouflage we'll cover, guys. We'll go into great detail for you guys. But as you can see, we're just outputting some secondary damage on this Richelieu. Again, another Richelieu for free. Pretty exciting indeed. And PQ is going really aggressive here into the B cap. Maybe a bit too aggressive potentially, but not sure. Well, the Pommer is coming back with the Manteuffel. I'm sure PQ is going to turn around here. This game we played them yesterday, so I don't remember exactly what happens, but I'm pretty sure he survives here. And then we can play more. Well, not more, but he can keep playing the match. I'm chilling. I'm trying to get this cap potentially. Concealment's also pretty decent, 11.7 on a ship with this caliber gun. And I believe the tier 10 actually gets 3 extra guns. Not guns, but yeah, gun barrels it gets. So it gets 9 instead of 6 gun barrels, which is kind of huge. But I was wondering actually, are you guys enjoying the videos recently? I've been posting quite a lot. I think I've posted for a few days in a row now. Not sure how many. But well, a lot of you have been subscribing to the channel. I think I gained 350 subscribers in the last 28 days. So I thank you a lot for that. For those of you who aren't subscribed, guys, again, I would greatly appreciate the sub to the channel, as it does help me out significantly, because at least you'll know when I post, etc. I also do have a Discord server where you'll get notified when I post if you want. It's up to you if you want to join or not. But the link is also in the description of the video. So this game, I think the points are also inverted, because they only have 75 points on the enemy team, but we have 400. So hopefully they're going to start killing some of our ships, because we don't want to win this game too fast, because we want some damage, guys. We always want damage. That's kind of the ultimate goal for me here, is to get damage, right? But anyway, this Amagi gets into secondary range. What does that mean, guys? It means we can switch to our 4 key and load up some secondary damage here. Hopefully we can get some on him and instantly start hitting him. Even the gun sounds, to me, are satisfying when you play this one. It's like the old pirate ships almost, but you have them shooting instead of every 30 seconds, you have them shooting every instant. You have so many guns. So pretty awesome. Unfortunately, he does go dark behind the rock, but we're gonna try to keep reversing here. PQ's coming forward, actually, at me. So that means he's gonna be able to get into the enemy team a bit faster than me, but that's okay. We'll reverse into them. And funny enough, with these ships, I believe, you do actually get more secondary DPM if you are pointed backwards, because you do get an extra turret angle here if we're pointed, like, not fully at them, but reversed at them. We do get an extra secondary gun, which adds on to our DPM, which is pretty nice. But I was wondering, I mean, you guys have watched a lot of content now based on the Manteuffel now. Probably you already watched PQ's review maybe and some other CCs. What do you guys think of this line? Do you think it's overall boring? Do you like the hybrid style of the light caliber guns and the higher caliber guns? Also, do you think these things will get a bit worse, maybe potentially? Not because they're gonna get nerfed, but more like people will get used to playing them. Potentially people will play a bit further away as well, maybe when fighting them. So people get used to it more often, and that means you're gonna be performing overall worse. Maybe that's why we're performing pretty decently these past, well, yesterday, because yesterday's the only day I played it. But yesterday I played it quite a fair amount, so... and I did have a lot of fun. But my concern is maybe people will get used to playing it a bit more often, and, well, you'll do worse damage. Look at this Richelieu, by the way, sitting behind the rock and the perfect gap. Me and PQ both get our secondary guns on him, and we start doing some damage to him. Look how much damage he's losing, HP-wise. Pretty cool indeed. Look at that. He's almost dead now. Pretty fun. Bye-bye, buddy. Does PQ get him? I get him. Second close quarters expert there for me in the Manteuffel. But not much going on this game left. There's a Pommern in the Amagi, but the Amagi seems to be hitting his head on the rock pretty continuously, so I don't think we're going to be able to damage him all too much. Maybe we can hope for the Pommern to get further away from the rock. That means we're going to be able to arc over the rock and potentially get some shots into him. That means get a fire. That means getting damage, guys, and that's what we want, right? Some extra damage. Squeeze out as much damage as physically possible from the match. Boom, 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 boom. Look at that. Fire. Up to 6 fires this game. You see me, 10 main gun hits, by the way, I just realized. I'm barely using any main guns. And I mean, especially a map like this, Faroe Islands, where you're sitting behind these, like, tall islands, you're less likely to use the main guns, I guess. And since people play close to the islands, you can arc over with these secondaries, and that's kind of your main armaments, I guess. Another fire there, by the way. And then we get 1k main gun damage there. It helps us, you know, 3 shell hits for 1k damage. And now, unfortunately, the Pommern has left my actual main gun range, guys, which means I'm not gonna get much more damage, potentially. To 146,600 HP. Ooh, a Manteuffel here. Let's see if we can secondary him potentially, and potentially maybe even kill him. But I'm not sure, because Zeden might actually get a shot. Yep, Zeden does get a shot and finishes him off. So unfortunately, we didn't get our third close quarters expert this game. But that is pretty much going to solidify this match as a win. This match was pretty much a win the whole time. The points are inverted for those of you who are confused. So we're the ones actually at 900 something points. When we kill this Pommern, that's pretty much game. I don't know if I'm gonna end up killing him. Probably not. Hopefully though, we get strike team there and it's GG. For the personal score, we ended up doing 150,378 damage, 13 shell hits, 2 kills, 7 fires, 1 cap, 386 secondary hits. We got strike team, 2 close quarters expert, and first blood. For team score, we ended up doing top of our team at 1.8k base XP. PQ with the second here, but you know, top 2 with the Manteuffels there, so that's pretty nice, right? Detailed report, 58k on the first Richelieu, I believe, 31k on the second Richelieu, 22k on the Pommern, 20k on the Amagi, 12k on the Manteuffel, and 4k on the Neptune. As you can see, our secondary damage, 101k from secondary guns, and then 32,000 from fires. We also got 16,000 from main guns. Credits and XP here is the screen. For my commander build for the Manteuffel, we've got Gun Feeder, Grease the Gears, Demolition Expert, Pack-a-Punch, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, Concealment Expert, and Top Grade Gunner. For equipment, we've got Auxiliary Armaments Mod 2, Concealment System Mod 1. I actually have Damage Control Mod 2, but I think Prop Mod probably is the one to go for, actually. But I don't have it, so there you go. I was a bit wrong in the initial part, I guess. Secondary Battery Mod 1, Damage Control System Mod 1, and Auxiliary Armaments Mod 1. For the armor layout for the ship, we have 27mm nose armor, a 30mm deck armor, 27 aft, with a 90mm side plate that's similar to that found on Aegir and Siegfried, and I believe maybe even Schroeder. If we take a look at the citadel, it is a turtleback citadel with a 80mm turtleback, but as you saw last game against the Richelieu, we did get Citadel, so make sure to angle your armor as best as possible. But try to not go fully bow in, because people will go through your nose, I guess. It depends what caliber of gun the ship's shooting you are, actually. For the ship characteristics, 6, we've got 62,300 HP with a 22% torpedo damage reduction. We've got 6 350mm main guns with a 25-second reload with this build, 10.5 AP damage. Pretty nice, I guess. The dispersion is kind of questionable sometimes, but sometimes it's actually okay. It's kind of random, so, you know, secondaries, guys, trust. We've got 150mm 6 guns here, I believe. 6 guns total. So we've got 1 on each side, 1 turret on each side with duels. And then we've got 1 in the middle here on the back. And then we've got our 128s, 18 of them. We've got 1... Well, this is what they look like. So you can't use all 18 at the same time. As I said, if you're kited though, you can use more. Because this one can actually shoot on this side, or this one can shoot on that side, I believe. For torpedoes, we've got 9.5 kilometer torps, actually. For German torps, that's actually pretty good range. 65 knots, 16k damage. For maneuverability, we've got 34.1 knots of top speed, which is also not too bad. 13.6 second rudder shift time. 840 meter turning circle radius, which isn't that good. And for concealment, 11.7, which is quite good. For exterior camouflage, for the Manteuffel, this is the event camouflage, I believe. That's only available in the not event pass, the early access, sorry. So I'll show you actually the normal camo first, which is the default. We've got a gray, blue, and gray camo, which is a bit more boring, but I believe it's a bit historical for the German cruisers, maybe. And then we've got the, well, this isn't the real ship, but that's kind of what they would have used, maybe. And this is the alternate, which is, of course, not a real one, I guess. But it is dark blue. So if you want a blue version, you've got this one. And then for the early access camouflage, we've got a pretty cool camouflage, actually. And not one of those early access camos where it's over the top and too maybe potentially cringy. This is actually a pretty nice one overall. It reminds me of potentially the Tirpids camo we had before, or we have before. And here's what it looks like, which looks pretty nice, actually. It gives it a nice tone. And there is something written up here, which I actually don't know what it means. So if any of you understand what... Well, I don't know how I'm going to showcase that, actually. Oh, I can go on the A gun. The very small ones, the 20s. If any of you know what this means, do let me know in the comments below, because I asked on Twitch yesterday and no one really knew what it meant. So I greatly appreciate if you guys help us out and, well, tell us what it means, actually, because I have no idea. That is pretty much it for the Manteuffel review. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and that's pretty much it. Where to find it? It's available in the tech tree in around 2 to 3 patches. For Germany, you're going to go up to Deutschland, Schier, Niesbeck, I think, Manteuffel, and then it leads up all the way to Prince Adalbert, which is actually a ship I really want to try, but I guess we'll have to wait a few months to try it out and see how it is. This is what it looks like, though. But I do have available for review, if you want, the Deutschland. That's probably a ship I'll be covering this week, potentially. And the Schier. The Schier I have not played just yet. But the Deutschland seems pretty underwhelming, I guess. But the Schier I have not tried, but I expected something to be similar a bit to that one, because they both don't have heal. The tier 8 is the first one that actually gets heal. But again, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, do please leave a sub and a like to the channel in the video, because I would greatly appreciate it a lot, and it helps out the channel greatly. And if you do enjoy the content, I'll see you in the next video. Big fan.